Hi guys, and I'm Retro Critic here. And today, I'm going to talk about why the Star Wars Fanbase is just a mess, and why the Star Wars Fandom has now become a dumpster fire. You see, the Star Wars Fanbase had elements before, and they did have toxic people in there before, but now it has become a monster. And now it has become a toxicity of trash. Toxicity of trash and shit. But thankfully, there are still good people there in the Star Wars Fandom. And there are not a lot, and trust me, if that's saying something, and trust me, if there's not too many good people there, that's saying something. And also, yes, there are plenty of good people there, and yes, there are plenty of good people there. There are plenty of good people in the Star Wars Fandom, and they will call out the toxicity of the Star Wars Fandom, but, like, you know, in the mess it has become. And yes, there are many Star Wars fans who do know what they're talking about, and they do know what they're saying, and they do know what they're saying, and they do know what they're saying when it comes to their Star Wars knowledge and their Star Wars expertise. And also for the most part, the Star Wars fan base has now become a dumpster fire. And also for the most part, the Star Wars fandom has now become a dumpster fire. And also for the most part, the Star Wars fandom has now become a dumpster. And I don't think the majority of mostly Star Wars fans will ever recover from this. And I don't think the majority of mostly the Star Wars fandom will ever recover from this. And I don't think the majority of mostly the Star Wars fandom will ever recover from this. And here's the thing, guys. I think George Lucas gets a lot of shit because he's like giving you the middle finger. Gets treated like shit. George Lucas is given. I think he sold Disney to Star Wars because he's been treated like shit ever since. Not all Star Wars fans, but he's been treated ever since. Star Wars fans, but like the people who hate the prequels so much, it's just I think he just had enough of you guys, and that's why he sold Disney to Star Wars. Ever since, man, I'm serious. But I just think he had enough. I think he had enough. And here's the thing. I'm against the Phantom Menace and the Disney Shills. Because the Phantom Menace has just become right-wing reactionaries. They don't care about Star Wars. They're like, oh, no politics in Star Wars. No, they're basically a political movement. I'm sorry. Like, they don't know what to talk about Star Wars. They're basically putting their politics in Star Wars. But no. They keep saying SG, like, they're making it like a culture war thing. I fucking hate it. You know, Star Wars is for everyone, buddy. Star Wars is anti-fascist, and I don't think the Phantom Menace understands that. And, like, Star Wars is anti-authoritarian. I don't think the Phantom Menace understands that. And the Disney Shills, they're too sycophantic. They can't keep their biases out. They're too, like, prejudiced. I think they're simping for Star Wars, and that's also toxic onto itself on its own. That's the problem. And I think George Lucas, I think it's the fans were treating George Lucas like shit, and he gave you guys the middle finger because he had enough of you. Not all Star Wars fans are good, but like I think the ones who overhate it. I think the people who hate the prequels were just giving George Lucas a lot of shit. Like people who overhate the prequels gave George Lucas a lot of shit for no reason. And it's just that I think he got tired of Star Wars fans treating him like trash. He got tired of Star Wars fans talking to him like that. And he just like, you know what? He gave you guys the middle finger because you guys deserve it. And that's why he sold Disney to Star Wars. And that's why he sold Disney to Star Wars. That's why Star Wars is where it's at right now because of you guys. Phantom Menace, prequels, haters, Disney Shills, or even just the bullies going on. That's why he sold Disney to Star Wars, because he's tired of you guys. You guys are treating him like complete utter trash. I had enough of it. You guys, like, oh my god. But also, guys, like, the Phantom Menace, I'm gonna make a rant on the Phantom Menace and the Disney. I had enough of these guys. I mean it. Like, the Phantom Menace has become a political movement. They say, oh, they always say, no politics in Star Wars. You guys are creating politics in Star Wars. You guys are making politics in Star Wars, and I had enough of it. You guys are right-wing reactionaries. They don't care about Star Wars, they don't know nothing about Star Wars. Look, the Phantom Menace, they don't care about Star Wars. The Phantom Menace doesn't know anything about Star Wars. They're a political movement. Whether you like it or not, they're a political movement, okay? And they're just toxic. They're toxic. And the Phantom Menace is a joke. They're right-wing reactionaries. I mean, like, I'll go on and on. They're just, listen, they're a joke. The best way I can say is that they're right-wing reactionaries. That's basically what they are. They're a joke. I mean, like, they're a fucking joke. I mean, I'll go on about them, but the Disney Shills, oh my god. The problem with the Disney Shills is that they're too sycophantic. They can't keep their biases out. They can't keep their biases out of Star Wars. They are too sycophantic. They're too sycophantic of Disney Star Wars. They accept everything good from Star Wars. There's no intelligent criticisms. They shill too much. It's to the point of simping. They're simping for Disney. This is why I call them shills, okay? They shill too much, so much for Star Wars. It's to the point where I think they're simping for Star Wars. They're simping way too much of Disney Star Wars, and that's saying something. And that's the problem. And that onto itself is toxic. And they're getting the Phantom Menace legitimacy, and that's the problem. And they don't realize that. And they're like Democrats and Republicans. I'm gonna say that right now. Democrats, Republicans, and I had enough of it. And they are, fucking moly, like, I don't know, the Phantom Menace are a bunch of fucking idiots. I had enough, I really did, I really do. The Phantom Menace, I think, gets too much legitimacy and credit. Like, onto itself, they're the Disney shows, they're toxic too. The Disney shows are toxic too. they don't know what they're talking about. So I really think it's the prequel haters, it's the EU fans, or the good ones who know what they're talking about, are the good guys here, by the way. Okay, so, and let me just let me talk about the Phantom Menace. They're giving them legitimacy. They're giving the Phantom Menace legitimacy, the Shills. I had enough of the show. They're giving them the legitimacy. That in itself is toxic. And they don't realize that. And the prequel, it's really the expand who know what they're talking about, okay? All it is just hate. They hate everything. There's something of criticism, but they take it to the next level of just hate. Like, everything's bad, I hate it. The Shills just, like, don't care about criticism, and they're sycophantic. And it's toxic, and they're giving legitimacy, and that's the problem. So, guys, my problem with the Phantom Menace is that, it's that all they do is just hate, you know? There's something on criticism, but they abuse their criticism, and they just hate. Like, they're just hate clicks. They're based on hate clicks. That's all what they are. You know, they don't know what they don't care about Star Wars. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And the Shills are worse. I think the Disney Shills are worse because they are giving legitimacy to the Phantom Menace, and you're too sycophantic. That itself is toxic. Now, they don't criticize Star Wars. There's no subject to criticize Star Wars with these guys, too. That's my problem with them. They're just too sycophantic and in love with the certain Star Wars and Disney canon that they like. I had enough. Like, they're giving legitimacy to the Phantom Menace and making them look good, and I had enough of that. And they're too sycophantic. And that onto itself is toxic. They're too based on their biases, and that onto itself is toxic. Like, they can't overlook their prejudices. They're too in love with their Star Wars. Phantom Menace is bad, but Disney Shills are worse. The Phantom Menace is a joke. They're a political movement. They're reactionaries. And all they do is just hate clicks, okay? Phantom Menace, all they do is just hate clicks. They're reactionary. But let's be honest, they're a political movement. They're a joke. They don't know what they're talking about. And sometimes they're not objectively smart. Okay, there's no nuance. They have no knowledge of Star Wars. They're not good people. I'll go on and on about that. The Disney Shills are just part of the problem. I'm sorry. They're part of the problem, and they're making them look good. And they're a joke, too. I'm sorry. And the Disney Shills are part of the problem, too. They're a joke, too. They're not serious. They're not a real fandom, okay? And that's what I think about that. I mean, this all started with the prequel haters to now this. This is what it has become. I hate it. And the only good people there is just the Star Wars Expanding Universe people. The Star Wars Expanding Universe fans know what they're talking. They're the real good Star Wars fans out there. The prequel haters are god-awful. The Star Wars Expanding Universe fans are really the only good people there I can think of. We know what we're talking about tonight. It's a travesty. It really is. Okay? So, you know, I mean, this started with the prequel haters, but God, I never thought it would get worse than this, but no, it's really the Expanded Universe fans who know what we're talking about. Like, the Star Wars Expanded Universe fans who know what we're talking about. Like, this really all started with the prequel haters, but God, I never thought it would get worse like this, but it's a dumpster fire. It's a mess, and like, the Star Wars Expanded Universe fans are the only good people I know. The Star Wars Expanded Universe fans are the only good people I know. The prequel haters are the beginning of the problem, and I hate them. And the prequel haters are the start of the toxicity of the Star Wars fandom. The beginning of the toxicity of the Star Wars fandom. They has turned Star Wars of what it has become. They have turned Star Wars of what it has become and ruined this fan base, and that's the problem. The worst people ever, I hate them. It's really only the Star Wars Expanded Universe fans that I like and who are good people. They know what they're talking about. Most of them are good fans out there. It's really only the Star Wars Expanded Universe fans who know what they're talking about and have their knowledge. They're the only good people I know. Like, they're the only nice people I know. But seriously, and they know what they're talking about. They're the only smart ones who are real fans who know what they're talking about. They're good and talking about, and they have not, and they care. They know they're nice people. They're good people. They're the only ones that have knowledge of Star Wars, good knowledge, and they're the only ones that care about Star Wars. You know, I mean, not everybody. Of a list. And the prequel haters are a list of the bad people. The prequel haters are a list of the bad. They're a list of bad, the beginning of the bad. Okay? And that's my thoughts on that. I had enough. But, guys, that's my thoughts on the Star Wars Fanbase. That's why I think it's a dumpster fire and a mess. I really do think so. But, the prequel haters are probably, they're the list of bad people. They're the list of how the fan got worse. The prequel haters are a part of the list of the beginning of the toxicity of the Star Wars fanbase, of how Star Wars became so toxic, and that's the problem. But, here's the thing. This is why I think the Star Wars fandom is just a dumpster fire. This is why I think the Star Wars fanbase is just a mess, okay? So, guys, that's my thoughts on the Star Wars fanbase on that. So, that's my thoughts on the Star Wars fanbase. Okay, that's my thoughts on them. Okay, that's my thoughts on that. So, guys, that's my thoughts on the Star Wars Fanbase, and that's my thoughts on the Star Wars fandom as a whole, in general. So, guys, I'm Retro Critic, I'm out, and bye and peace out. Bye. Take care.